Hi everyone, welcome to Dividends, the show for and about your College of Business. My guest today, John Walters. He's the new director of the Office of Technology Management. We've changed that name, but he's an old friend to the College of Business and to the East Center. John, appreciate you being here.
Thank you very much.
We've got a lot of ground to cover. And when we get to talking about your prior life before Mississippi State, you will have lost me because I know nothing about software. But let's back it up. Tell us a bit about yourself and your connection with Mississippi State.
Sure thing. One, thank you very much for having me on the program. Appreciate it. I'm a product of Itawamba County, the Itawamba Agricultural High School in Fulton, Mississippi, graduate of '84. Got my undergraduate in marketing from Mississippi State. Liked it so much, stayed for my master's in finance and economics, and then went on to work with Accenture, or Anderson Consulting at the time, doing enterprise consulting, building and implementing.
So what does that mean, enterprise consulting?
Enterprise, so enterprise software is typically not single use or single function software. It's a software that spans the entire enterprise. So from manufacturing to finance to marketing to sales, enterprise systems covers that domain.
You were talking about marketing in an MBA. I didn't hear any information systems in there. So what, did you have an interest in this? You don't always see marketing people glom towards software.
Right. So coming out of school, Anderson Consulting, by and large, was a systems integrator. And so coming into Anderson Consulting, they turned me into a software engineer over the course of time.
Did you have a say in that? I mean, were you surprised, or did you have an interest there? Did you see it as a career opportunity?
I saw it as a career opportunity to get into the software business, and they facilitated that by an extensive training program that they have within the organization. You spend a copious amount of time in training classes, and they, developed my skill sets in coding and design and project management, program management, and that turned me into the software guy that I am today.
All right, so let's go ahead and continue your software journey.
So my software journey continued. I left Anderson after about 7.5 years, went with a startup company in Austin, Texas, called AMBAC Connect, where we created the first e-procurement system for state and local governments based on internet technologies. After that, a business partner and I formed Periscope Holdings.
When you say after that, did you leave that company to start another company, or did you have an exit?
We didn't have an exit on that one. I had an opportunity to go out and start my own consulting business. So we started as an incubator firm, writing business plans, helping companies raise money. We pivoted in the 2000 time frame, went back and bought out the company that I had been working with. And so Periscope Holdings became enterprise class software for e-procurement for state and local governments. So we took that product set, then we had to re-platform it to make it, to bring it to modern technologies. And then we began growing and building that company from there.
So how did you get connected with the East Center? Because that was sort of your portal back into the university, right?
Yeah, the initial portal was I was on the marketing advisory board. So served in that capacity for several years. And some of the people, there was a Venn diagram, there was an overlap of people on the marketing advisory board and the East Center. And so about 6 years ago, Eric Hill approached me to join the East Center advisory board at that point.
Yeah, and how has that experience been for you? I mean, I'm on that board, and it is great to have not just the academic side, but the practitioners come in and weigh in on the startups and give advice to folks the students who are starting their businesses. But I see the benefit for us, but what's that experience been like for you?
As someone coming in from the outside, a practitioner, as you would say, it's amazing to see, number one, the ideas that come from the students. And it's not just students from the School of Business. They're coming from engineering, they're coming from ag, they're coming from all across the campus and bringing ideas. And the E-Center provides that space for them to connect with other students, because I may be an engineer, but I need someone who knows something about marketing. I may need someone who knows something about finance or accounting. And it provides that space for them to connect with other students, which is, it's the lightning in the bottle, where the teams form at that point. And then the E-Center provides that structure, via the advisory group and the program by which then those startups begin to formulate their business idea. And that's really magic for me, to watch those kids start to put together, do customer research, do product development, look at business model formation. And then you have this group of advisors that are there to help provide more structure, provide ideas, provide those moments where you look and you go, have you thought about this? And and they're like, no, didn't think about that at all. But then the beautiful thing is when you see them, the idea begin to gel, and then they pivot into something that becomes successful.
Well, we want to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about you returning in an official capacity at the university in our tech management office. So we'll take a break, and we'll be back with more in just a moment.
It's been said that every dream has a destiny. That's why at Mississippi State University, our Center for Entrepreneurship and Outreach is encouraging big ideas every day. In fact, our world-renowned process of idea development and immersive learning is so strong that we're unleashing more than 100 startups and spinoffs a year and generating nearly $21 million in annual income for the Mississippi economy. Graduates of the E-Center are realizing success by revolutionizing marketing through technology, solving problems and building efficiencies through innovation, and lighting up lives through play and learning. These and other young innovators are adding hometown jobs, spurring growth in their local communities, and inspiring others to take chances and put their dreams into action. Imagining the possible and achieving it. Mississippi State University.
Welcome back, everyone. We are continuing our conversation with John Walters. He has been a friend of the university in advisory capacity, and more recently has come back as the director of the Office of Technology Management, and that's a big title to put on a business card. But you really are talking about innovation at Mississippi and Mississippi State. And what is Mississippi State's role when we talk about statewide innovation? So what attracted you into coming back full time? You were retired, semi-retired?
Yeah. So we had an exit. Periscope was acquired by MDF Commerce in 2021. I had moved on to another startup in the similar space called Procurated, based out of Washington, D.C. And the opportunity, the director of the OTM, for short, came open, and Jeremy Clay, who was also on the E-Center Advisory Board, he and I were discussing it, and he said, we're really looking for someone with an entrepreneurial background. And so then I began looking at, well, what does OTM do? And OTM manages the patents, the copyrights, trademarks, and the licensing process for all of the technologies that come out of the research labs at Mississippi State. And so the research labs at Mississippi State really are an innovation engine for the university and the state and the region and even nationally. So 53% of the research dollars that come into the state flow through Mississippi State. So when you look at the other R1, Ole Miss State, Jackson State, Southern, Mississippi State is a tremendous force, and for me it became very interesting because of all the different technologies that Mississippi State is involved with, and I would have an opportunity to work with all of those technologies, which to me was incredibly exciting. And then from an entrepreneurial perspective, how do we take those ideas and make them fly?
Yeah, but that's the challenge, because you've got, you're working with not necessarily entrepreneurs, you're working with researchers and professors who sometimes are just locked into the thing they're so great at, right?
Right.
And how do you explain to them or get them strategically engaged in the process where you can monetize those ideas? Because at the end of the day, that's going to be a critical component.
Yeah, and absolutely, because the researchers are so good at what they do. I mean, they're so focused on, creating the next thing, and so from our job as OTM, as a support organization, is to help them understand that if we can, number one, protect that intellectual property, and then number two, find organizations that want to license that technology, then that creates revenue streams back to Mississippi State. And for the professor, as an inventor and a patent holder, they get to share in those revenue streams as well. So it helps them from that perspective to understand how they create value for the university, and the market in turn, provides rewards back to Mississippi State, to their department, and to them individually.
Well, and that's important. I mean, people aren't just investing. I say people, the federal government and others aren't investing tens of millions of dollars into Mississippi State just to invest tens of millions of dollars into Mississippi State for research. So there needs to be some kind of ROI, and you can quantify that, I guess, in numerous ways, right?
Yes, that's correct. I mean, Mississippi State receives some $300 million a year in research funding, and so that's a tremendous amount of, economic stimulus to the labs, and then, but the federal government wants to see a return on that, and so that's where we play a critical role in finding licensees, or you have some faculty members who start companies. Charles Freeman started
That's a good example.
Humo,
Yeah.
and so you see faculty members also start their own companies and take those out as well.
Well, which is another reason why it's great to have you here, because you have been out there and you have not only started these companies, but then had the exit, which is arguably what every startup is looking for down the road, is to have that successful to exit. So I have one more question for you, and that is, how do you see the role of the E-Center when it comes to what you're doing with the technology management on campus?
So the E-Center is kind of the flip side of the coin. We work with the faculty and the researchers. The E-Center is for the undergraduates and for faculty that are creating companies. And so the E-Center acts as an innovation engine to help those students. And not every student is going to become an entrepreneur long term, but they learn key skills in the E-Center, customer research, product development, how to make a presentation in front of a semi-friendly board that's going to provide, guidance to them. And that in turn, we have students coming out of Mississippi State with practical skills that can be applied in the market. And some of those will turn into startups like Whisper Systems or Glow.
Well, and I think that's one of the things that Eric Hill did so well, was struck that balance between academia and practitioners. And any organization is only as good as the people that are involved in it. So we've known you for a long time, and we were very excited when you joined the Mississippi State team. So I'm glad you came on to join me to talk about it and to share that with other folks, and wish you much success.
Thank you. And I would be remiss if I did not say a wholehearted thank you, Jeffrey Rupp, for all that you've done for the E-Center and for Mississippi State. It's been an incredible run, and I wish you all the success in the world.
Well, thank you. Nobody knew I was leaving, but they do now. Yeah. So you can send those gift cards to Jeffrey Rupp, care of, just kidding. We are out of time. Thank you again so much. And we'll see you one more time on Dividends next time.